The Latvian national airline Air Baltic is a relative newcomer to the European aviation scene, but it's enjoying some fantastic growth and has ambitious plans for the future, including renewing their entire fleet to the Airbus A220, a regional jet that I'm personally a fan of. So today I'm here at the capital of Latvia, Riga, about to head on board an Air Baltic flight to London Gatwick. Come and see what it's like. Welcome to Edgington Airborne. Let's get going. Welcome to Riga International Airport, the largest in the Baltic states and a place I had very little time to explore after my previous flight, so no check-in or outside footage this week I'm afraid. Instead, it's straight to departures and a very quick look at what the airport has to offer before boarding. Apart from a Costa Coffee and Victoria's Secret, there weren't many outlets that I was familiar with in the airport, but the duty-free and travel value stores stock many familiar brands, and you can purchase a number of Latvian souvenirs throughout the terminal. I didn't have time for shopping myself, but with plenty of seating and great views of the apron, I'd have no issue wasting a couple of hours here. So that's a quick look at Riga Airport. I wasn't too sure what to expect visiting this terminal, but I have to say I'm really impressed. I really enjoyed my time in here. Sadly that time was limited though because of a tight connection. So let's go and find the aircraft and make our way to Gatwick. As I mentioned at the start of this video, Air Baltic is a relatively young airline compared to many of the big names in Europe and began operations from Riga in 1995. After some difficulties in the early years, the airline today employs around 1,600 staff and operates 4 aircraft types, including 19 of these Airbus A220 jets that I'm on board. Eventually the entire fleet will be made up of these modern aircraft, and very shortly we'll see what the onboard experience is like, but first, how much does it cost to fly from Riga to London? The Air Baltic website is clear and easy to navigate, and the airline provides a useful fare finder offering the cheapest dates of travel. On this example search, flights are available from less than €30, which is great value. This is based on the cheapest basic fare, but for more flexibility, higher priced tickets are available, including business class, although for me, the extra €558 is frankly a ridiculous price. But back to this flight and let's check out the cabin. The Air Baltic A220-300 carries up to 145 passengers in a 2-3 layout, meaning there's no middle seat on the left of the aircraft. The cabin design, in my opinion, is beautiful, and the A220 features plenty of space for bags with the largest overhead lockers in its class. Modern LED lighting is fitted, although the crew left the cabin dark for this flight. That wasn't a major issue, however, as the huge windows allow plenty of natural light into the aircraft. Above your head, as you'd expect, are individual reading lights and air vents, and here's where you'll also find my favourite feature, which are monitors showing a route map and flight information, something not fitted on most regional or short-haul aircraft in Europe. The A220 also has 2 toilets on board, with the rear toilet for economy class passengers, and this features baby changing facilities and was relatively spacious for a modern jet. Air Baltic offer economy class passengers a selection of drinks and snacks to purchase on board, with pricing similar to many low-cost airlines. You can also choose to pre-order an in-flight meal during booking from an impressive selection, and as this was an early flight, I opted for breakfast. The meal was served in this striking cardboard box and contained a croissant, yoghurt and a quite tasty cheese omelette with vegetables. Also included is orange juice, and for around €10 I considered my meal to be good value overall. We've got about an hour left to run, so now let's take a look at the seat that you can expect to find on the Airbus A220 with Air Baltic. As I was travelling on a basic fare for this flight, seat selection was an additional cost before check-in opened. Priority and extra legroom seats are available if you prefer, but I paid €5.99 for a standard seat at the rear of the cabin. Now to look at the seat itself, and the Airbus A220 has quite a unique design overall, but like many aircraft, the literature pocket is found at the top, and here you'll find your A220 safety card and in-flight magazine, which we'll take a closer look at soon. As we lower the tray table, you can see it like so many aircraft nowadays, the bottom of the literature pocket is exposed, so it's not really a useful place for your belongings. The table itself is where you'll start to see a difference to many aircraft, with 2 cup holders provided, just in case you are especially thirsty. The table is extendable, but the most noticeable feature is the support for the table, which is placed right in the centre rather than either side, which means there's much more room for your legs when the table is being used. Sadly, storage is an issue at this seat, with the only space being provided by 2 small pouches, which are just large enough for a mobile phone or, in my case, a power bank. While that is disappointing, one thing that certainly isn't is the legroom. There is plenty of space here, and on the routes that Air Baltic operates further afield, this is a big plus. I'm a big fan of this seat for comfort and design, but what do you think? Let me know in the comment section. As we pass over the Netherlands, let's take a quick look at some of the in-flight magazine highlights before landing, which appropriately featured an article about places to visit in London. There was also some interesting facts about the airline's overall performance earlier in the summer, and of course a favourite section of mine, the route map of Air Baltic's destinations, which includes flights as far as Abu Dhabi, which is a city that I hope to visit in future. By the way, if you'd like to follow all of my upcoming travels, including my flights to North America later this year, make sure to follow me on social media. I post updates of all of my journeys as they happen on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Just heard from the flight deck and the seatbelt signs have been switched on. This flight is drawing to an end. We'll be on the ground in Gatwick soon, but make sure to stick around to the end of the video for my final thoughts on today's trip. So welcome to London Gatwick Airport. I'm at the South Terminal after that flight with Air Baltic, and this is where I'll share with you my final thoughts, kicking things off in Riga. And I was very impressed with the airport in Riga. I've not been there before, and sadly I didn't have long because of a tight connection, but what I saw was very impressive. I hope to visit again soon. I will say though that the staff at the passport control, they weren't the friendliest people I've ever met in my life, and a smile really wouldn't have hurt. They are doing an important job, but it would have been nice. And then we come to the aircraft and the flight itself. Now, I've said before that I'm a big fan of regional jets, in particular Embraer's E-jets, but I have to say, after the experience today, that has to now go to the Airbus A220. It's definitely my favourite of the regional aircraft, because mainly it's really comfortable. The cabin is a very nice design, really smart and impressive, very modern of course. The screens throughout the cabin are a really nice touch. They're useful for everybody, but also I would mention for nervous passengers, it could be very useful to know whereabouts you are, how long you've got to go. The seat itself was very comfortable as well, and I was very much impressed with the legroom. I do have one criticism though, and that's the fact that on this particular flight, economy class passengers were only able to use the rear toilet, and that meant there were queues throughout much of the flight, particularly in the second half. The cabin crew today were very friendly and professional, and I'd also mention the pre-booked food that I had was really tasty and well worth the money in my opinion. Air Baltic then are definitely an airline that I'll look to try again in future, but there's one flight I don't think I'll be up for, and their longest flight is to Abu Dhabi. Now, I couldn't really imagine spending so long on an aircraft of that size, particularly, as I mentioned before, just perhaps one toilet, but it's one of those things. I'm sure many people enjoy it. I'll probably take a long-haul aircraft though. Let me know what you think in the comments about my video today and my thoughts at the end as well. If you have any good or bad suggestions, let me know. And if you've enjoyed it, please do make sure to like and subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss a future video. And most of all, take care.